how can you help us, though, continue to help you? First, please subscribe to the channel. Like us. If you listen to the audio version, leave us a 5-star review wherever you can. If you see our posts, please share those posts, share the content, and link back to our law firm website, which helps us to continue our SEO marketing and grow our firm and help small business owners.
I was doing a podcast with a gentleman who works in the drink industry, and he said something that stuck with me. And he said, your distribution should be an inch wide and a mile deep, right? So it doesn't make any sense to sell to 100 stores one time if you can sell to 10 stores 100 times.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the show. I'm Mitch Beinhaker, your host. Welcome to the Accidental Entrepreneur. I always remind everybody that if you are listening on your favorite directory, leave us a 5-star review whenever you can so we can keep connecting with cool people like Alex from Texas. We're going to talk to him about Delta Vine in a minute. And we are trying to build and continue to build up the YouTube channel. So go to the video, share it, subscribe, like us, keep in touch with us, get on our mailing list, and we can keep growing the channel. I always remind everybody that the information that we share in these episodes is for informational purposes only. It's not a guarantee of success or advice of any kind. If you're going to make decisions based on something Alex says, something I say, something here in another episode, don't do it without consulting local licensed professionals, okay? Alex, thanks for coming on the show. I guess it's 10:30 here, so it must be 9:30 there, right?
Yes, sir, 9:30. Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Why don't we start with you and your background before we get into Delta Vine and the drinks and what's going on in the whole THC, CBD, drink industry?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, kind of give you the quick snapshot. So originally, I was born in California, so I'm a California boy. I grew up in the Bay Area. Went to high school there. After high school, I decided I just kind of wanted to change, so I moved down to San Diego, actually.
Okay.
Beautiful area. I went to UCSD in La Jolla,
Nice.
and that's where I met my wife. So that's kind of the origin of that, which is cool. I went to UCSD, graduated from there. At that point, the wife and I were kind of looking again for change. We kind of have wandering hearts, I guess you'd say. So we were looking. She ended up getting into CU Boulder, so out in Colorado.
Sure. Yeah.
So we moved out there. She was finishing up school, and I didn't really know what I was going to do. I was 24 and lost, like most of us. And I decided, you know what? I had a brother-in-law who was a firefighter, and I said, you know what? I'm going to be a firefighter.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I started kind of taking. I didn't really know what I was supposed to do. Didn't really have any idea of that. So just kind of started working through the process and testing. You basically have to go through, testing processes and whatnot. Ended up becoming I worked on an ambulance in Colorado, and then worked as a volunteer out there as well.
Okay, so this is like local firemen, not like forest firefighting stuff.
Correct. Yeah, it was a little town called Golden, Colorado, which is the home of the Coors Brewery. If you've ever.
There you go. Yeah, right. You hear that in the commercials.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
All over. Beautiful little town. It's great. Great town.
All right. So how long? So this was what year? This you were like 24, 25 at this point?
So yeah, this was like 2010 to like 2012, 13.
Got it.
This time period.
So
yeah.
15 years or something like that. Okay. And then so you and then when you came out of the academy, you joined the fire station in one of them in that area in Colorado. That's where you started.
Yep. Yeah. In Golden, it's a real small town. All volunteers basically.
Oh, okay. So volunteers, but you weren't you weren't a volunteer, were you?
I was a volunteer. Mm-hmm.
Oh, you were a volunteer.
I was a volunteer for like 2 years. Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I remember when I grew up, my dad was a volunteer fireman in our town, and we had like this radio, and I don't know what they had different technology. This was like in the 70s, right? We had this radio in our kitchen, and it would go off in the middle of the night, like blaring, and he would have to go and get his gear and run to the firehouse. And is that what it was like?
That's exactly what it was like. Yeah, it really, the technology hasn't gotten that much better at that point.
Nice.
They called it a pager, but it was about that big, and it was a radio pager type situation. It would just go off. You jump in your car, you drive to the station, put your gear on, and go. Do whatever you needed to do, whatever the call was.
This was like a giant box, and it had the mic with that you'd pick up, and you'd be like, you talk, okay, we're on our way, whatever. I guess my mom would do that. He was busy throwing his stuff on and jumping in the car. He had his gear in the back, and I remember that. And he had some crazy fires that he went to.
It's wild. It's a whirlwind. It's wild, but it's a great. It's volunteering was it was amazing. It was super fun, because about half the people wanted to be career firefighters, and half the people were just people in their community who just really wanted to, help out.
Right.
So,
but
it was
volunteer,
a cool cross-section.
were you getting paid?
We got I think we got like a shift stipend of like 15 bucks, something like that.
So it wasn't much.
No, not much. And at the same time, for money, I was working on an ambulance through like a different service.
Got it. So that's how you were
kind
paying
of
the
same area.
bills.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
got it.
Because
Right,
making
right. So you were just
I was
doing it
making
really to
$2
build
an
up your
hour.
career, to get experience.
Exactly. Yeah.
Basically, right?
Yeah, just a resume builder. And like I said, I didn't really know anything about firefighting as a profession, so I was kind of just dipping my toe in of like, is this something I'm going to want to do? What does this really entail?
Yeah.
And just fell in love with it. It was, it's a great
your
career.
calling.
It was my calling, yeah.
Yeah.
And at the same time, my wife was going to school in Boulder for anthropology. So neither one of us.
Oh yeah, high paying career, right? You
Yeah,
a dinosaur, paleontologist or something.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, look, $10 or $15 a shift, even in 2010, that doesn't even buy you lunch. So
No, it didn't.
yeah, that's nothing. So what made you end up in Texas? Was there some interim trip there, or did it go straight from Colorado to Texas?
Colorado to Texas. Yeah. So
Okay.
my wife graduated. This was probably in 2012. She finished
Okay.
school, fall of 2012. And at that point, we were thinking, she was from California as well. And we loved Colorado, but we were also, like I said, we're kind of wandering hearts. So we decided, let's just look all over the country and see where we want to end up. This is
Right.
this is a big chance for us to make a big move and do something kind of silly and go for it. So I started applying to different fire departments all over the country, Colorado, California, New York, and then a little town called Austin here in
There
Texas.
you go.
And
Little then, now it's much bigger, right? That's where the university is, right? That's where UT is? Yeah.
UT is, yeah.
Okay.
So we moved down here in 2013.
Okay.
Never really been to the town. I came down here through the testing process and just said, you know what, it's a great spot. It's a beautiful city, lots going on, perfect for people in their, late 20s at that point.
Right.
So we made the jump and made a cross-country move from Colorado down to Texas here, and been here ever since.
Okay, now, so what was your wife going to do with her anthropology degree in Austin, Texas? There's a big dinosaur digs down there or something?
Yeah, that's a great question. The short answer is she didn't know.
Right. Yeah.
The longer answer is when she originally started school, she wanted to go to school for advertising.
Okay.
At Boulder. So she got about halfway through her first semester of just kind of doing the prereqs for it, and they told her that the program was shut down.
Oh, okay.
So she was very frustrated with that. She specifically went to that school for that reason. But she said, you know what, let me just pivot. At this point, let's just get a degree and just kind of move on. So moving down
So
to
she wasn't
Austin.
necessarily going to go into anthropology. She just did it as a
No.
degree. Yeah, a lot of people do. Right? Okay.
Yep.
I got it.
Just kind of
That's weird. Like marketing is like the biggest growing area that everyone's majoring in, and this school's shutting it down. Like,
Yeah, made no sense whatsoever. I don't know
Right.
if they're revamping it. I don't know. It was just, and it seemed like such a last minute decision was
Yeah.
kind of the frustrating part for her.
Right.
But it's fine. It ended up working out.
Yeah,
She finished
just
her
a
schooling. Yeah, she got her degree,
Yeah.
and then she moved down here and didn't really know what she was going to do. So she kind of found basically a customer service job, doing some IT work, and then she ended up getting on with a bigger tech company and has been there for about 10 years or so. So
nice.
it ended up working out.
yeah. All right, and you're still with the Austin Fire Department?
I am. Yep, still there. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when did you get the bug where you're like, you know what, I gotta do like a side gig? Like, do all the firefighters like do some on the side because they probably don't pay you enough as they should be paying you, or?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, everyone's got something. So a lot of people do
Something going on,
construction.
Yeah.
For a
Right.
while, I was doing like appliance repair, dryer technician type things. One of the guys in the department started a company, so I was working for him doing
So you
that.
just went out on calls, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's the good thing about first response and firefighting is you do shift work. So you work for 24 straight hours, and then you get a couple of days off. So
Yeah.
you can fit in other jobs like that.
Is that what it is? It's 24 hours, and then you get a couple. But there's like sleeping places in firehouse, right? I mean, you can't be up for 24 hours. It's not possible.
Yeah, it's basically just a big house. So we have a kitchen, we have a day room with TV. I've got a bedroom there, and I keep everything that I have at home there. So I've got clothes there and toothbrush and all that stuff. So
Right.
it's I go in at 10 in the morning and basically just live there for a day and then come home. So it's kind of cool. You get to have like 10 roommates who are just 10 of your best friends and just get to
Right.
hang out and run calls for a couple hours. So
Plus,
it's great.
you got a couple days to do whatever you need to do, right? Because you're off doing
Yeah.
what you're doing. Okay.
Exactly.
So let's talk about business, because that's what the podcast is about, right? Small business, starting your own business or whatever. So the Delta Vine is your first business venture, right?
Correct.
So tell me like, I don't know if metamorphosis is the word, but how did it come about? What did you do? Did you explore other things? Was it just like you came into this and you know what I mean? So tell me the story
Yeah,
about that. And I'll answer
absolutely.
more questions.
Yeah, sure. So the idea was at the end of 2023 is when the idea really hit my
Yeah,
wife and I. So as a first responder, for years and years, we were not allowed to use marijuana or hemp or anything like that. Right?
that
It
makes
was
sense.
against the rules.
Right.
Recently, over the past 10 to 15 years, whatever it's been, different states have started doing medical marijuana, right?
Right.
Which I don't know how much you know about the space, but you actually get a prescription from a licensed medical doctor
Yeah.
to take it. So about 3 years ago now, 2023, our department said it's a prescription. We can't tell you not to use a prescription, right? It'd be the
Right.
same as telling you not to take your cholesterol medicine or high blood pressure medicine. So
Right.
they realized that they had to let us use it if we had a prescription for it. So a bunch of firefighters, myself included, ended up getting our medical marijuana cards down here in
Right.
Texas.
But it
So
is a hallucinogenic. I mean, even though it's medically prescribed, it's a little different than taking Lipitor. I mean, you could be impaired, I would think, when you're going if you don't use it properly and you go into a fire and you're out of it, right?
sure, yeah, it could. And so there are rules around it. It's similar to alcohol in that you can't have it in your
Yeah.
system
Okay.
when you're on duty. Is
Right.
basically
Right.
how it's looked at, right?
Right.
So at that point in 2023, like I said, I just started using gummies and it was great. Like my sleep was way better, my stress was significantly lower. I started drinking less alcohol. Like everything just improved in my life, and a lot of people in the department were kind of going through the same thing. How this connects to the business is my wife and I didn't before this we were not smokers. I've been a first responder forever. I couldn't do it. Just
Right.
it was never really her thing. So we didn't
Yeah.
know anything about the space, right? I mean, a couple of times in college I smoked a really terrible joint with a bunch of seeds in
Right.
it.
We all
And that
have,
was kind
right?
of the extent. Right, yeah, that was kind of the
And no,
extent.
and I'm not a smoker. I don't want to smoke. So yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So we started kind of exploring the space, went to a couple of different little smoke shops in the area, and we started seeing all these THC drinks. And at that point, we're like, is it the same as you? Is this legal? What are we doing? Can people sell this? Is this under the table? What do these feel like? What is going on here?
So this is smoke shops where you don't need a prescription. So you're like,
Right.
how are they selling this here? Right. Okay.
Exactly. What is that? And then we started seeing it in like bigger places like Total Wine, and there's a place down here called Specs, which has dozens and dozens of they're liquor stores.
Okay.
We started seeing them in liquor stores, and we're like, this is crazy. So we started kind of looking into it, and we bought a couple of the drinks just to kind of experiment with, and we liked the feeling. We were at that point we were in our I guess mid to late 30s, and we were just trying to be a little bit healthier, trying to cut back on drinking was the biggest thing.
Yeah.
So we started tasting these drinks and we were like, man, we just don't really like a lot of them. There's a lot of seltzers out there. There's a lot of sodas. There's a lot of really high dosages out there, between 10 and 25 milligrams, which if you're not familiar, it's a lot.
Is that a lot? Like
That's a
how many
lot.
milligrams of THC is in like a gummy?
So like between 5 and 10 is good. 10 is kind of the upper limit for a
So
lot
you
of
get
folks.
a drink of 25.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
we
Okay.
tested it. It ruins your day.
Yeah. Okay.
It can really mess you up. So
Okay. So
they were
why are drinks like this? Well, I guess you'll get into why they're available in these places, even though they have very high THC content.
Yeah, so basically, in the short answer is in 2018 there was it's called the Farm Bill. 2018 Farm Bill is what it's called. That legalized hemp and hemp usages.
Yeah.
The kind of what ended up being like a loophole in that is that you could take these hemp drinks, and hemp and marijuana are very closely related.
CBD comes from hemp, right?
CBD does, and so does Delta 9 THC, and that's
Right. So
that
we'll
is
talk
what
the
is being
difference between
used in
Delta.
this.
Yeah. Can we get into that in a little bit? And between
Sure.
Delta 8, Delta 9, I think there's a Delta 10 too, isn't there?
It's Delta 10.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Delta
Yeah,
9 is the
absolutely.
regulated one. Go ahead.
Yes, Delta 9 is the regulated one, and that's what's
Right.
in basically all of the drinks that are out there now. But basically, that Farm Bill legalized it federally. I say legalized it. It's still going through. There's a lot of legislation around it and a lot of kind of gray areas. But that's when those drinks started popping up in 2018, when people realized we can take this Delta 9 and put it into a drink, and people can actually drink it instead of smoking it or using gummies. And so that's
So that's
basically
different
why-
though than like pre-rolls or vape cartridges of THC, right? That's not the same substance. Is that why you can sell it anywhere?
Pretty much, yeah. It's just because it's hemp and not marijuana. Even though they're related plants, it comes from a different plant.
Oh, so it's
chemically instructed.
THC, but it's not coming out of the marijuana plant, it's coming out of the hemp plant. But just as hallucinogenic?
Yeah, it depends. So we talk about like delta 8, delta 9, delta 10.
Yeah.
And like I'm not a chemist, so I don't totally understand, but it's basically different chemical bonds between those
Yeah.
those
That's what
three
my understanding
compounds.
is too, right?
And it hits you basically, each one kind of hits you differently. So delta 8, I believe, hits you quicker and lasts a shorter amount of time. Whereas delta 10 hits you a little bit lighter, but it lasts for a longer period of time. Delta 9 is the closest feeling to like actual marijuana that there is. So it kind of hits you the same as marijuana, where it hits you quickly-ish and lasts for a medium amount of time.
Right. But that's why it was available in these smoke shops and in liquor stores, because the federal legislation deals with cannabis, marijuana plants, right? There was no exception of, well, you can't sell anything. What they should have done was you can't sell anything with THC. It shouldn't have mattered where it came from, but they didn't. I don't think legislators really understood the difference, right?
They didn't, yeah. So exactly, yeah. It legalized hemp over marijuana, even though the chemicals are very, very similar between the two.
Right. Well, also, you got to remember, hemp's used for a lot of things, right? There's cotton, there's clothing that's made out of hemp, there's certainly CBD products that are not THC based, stuff like that. So it's interesting.
Exactly.
So what year was this where you're like, you know what, maybe we can do a drink that tastes better? This is, you said, about 2000.
Like late 2013, early 24. Sorry, 2023, early 2024.
So a few years, like 3 years ago.
Yeah, 2.5, 3 years ago. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you have no business background. You got nothing.
Zero. Nothing.
Except hard work, and how'd you start? Like, what did you do?
So my wife came up with the concept. She came up with the name. She's like, I think there's zero wine alternatives out there it's basically seltzers and sodas is kind of what it was at that point.
Okay.
So she was like, why don't we make a low dose drink that tastes like wine? And we're like, that sounds great, but we have no idea how to start that process. Right. So it was a lot of Googling and just saying, like, how do you formulate a commercial beverage, right? Because I can't just write a recipe and take it to a co-packer and give it to them. It's got to be, it's a formulated recipe through like a food scientist. So we found a company out in LA called Power Brands. They're awesome people. They basically formulate drinks for companies. So
makes sense, right?
Yeah, I believe they did 5 Hour Energy. They've done some really big ones that we recognized.
Okay.
And basically, what you do is you take your idea to them and you say, we want this, we want this type of can, we want this many milligrams, this many ounces, servings. All like you kind of just break it down for them, and then you have multiple meetings about like, what do you want it to taste like, what do you want it to look like, flavors, all sorts of things like that. Basically, over the next 2 months, in their lab, they create these drinks for you, and they send you samples. So that my wife and I got some samples after we had our meetings and stuff with them. We tasted it, and we had notes for them. So that was the first round. For the second round, we took those notes. We actually flew out there, and we sat in their office and just gave them notes. So they would make the drink. We'd say, we want it a little bit sweeter, we want it a little bit more dry, we want some more acidity, whatever. They
were coming up with prototypes. You were tasting them, and you're like,
correct.
No, this is okay.
Mm-hmm. Just over and over.
And it wasn't a carbonated drink. It's more like wine, you said, right?
It's still, yeah. So it's non-carbonated.
Non-carbonated.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. So we formulated two. We did like a red and a white. And basically what they did is they got all the ingredients for us. They told us where they sourced the ingredients and the percentages and whatnot, gave us all the recipes and paperwork that we would need to actually formulate the drink. So
this is like a non-alcoholic THC-infused wine, except it's not really wine. It's not made that way.
Exactly. Yep.
Got it.
Yeah.
So just a rough numbers, right? How much time and how much, I don't know who that is, how much cost was it to get to the point where you had a product that you could then say, okay, we're going to can this product or I don't know what, bottle it or whatever, and then try to sell it? How long did that take and how much money? And then maybe where did the money come from? That's the third question. Yeah.
For sure.
So what was the process? How long do you remember?
Yes. So the formulation, we started in March of 2024.
Okay.
2024. And we got the final recipe in either August or September of that year. So what is that? 5.5, 6 months?
5, 6 months.
Something like that.
Right. So you had spent the year before researching and looking for companies and figuring this stuff out and how you sketching out the financials. Okay.
Exactly. Just seeing if it was even possible. So
right.
Just that process of the actual creation of the recipe, I believe, was $25,000.
Okay.
So you asked where the money came from. We put that on a no interest credit card.
Got it.
Let's just do that. Let's do this right
Bootstrap
now.
it yourself.
Bootstrap it. Just figure it out.
Right. Okay, but at that point, you just had the formula
correct.
and you had like a small batch of stuff, like nothing you could sell,
Nope.
right? Did you have a label even?
So they did help us with that. Yeah, that was part of the thing is they created the label and whatnot for you with.
Okay.
So that was cool. Nutritional labels and all that.
Oh yeah, right. Because you have to And did you trademark the name and the label and the whole thing? Did they help you with that?
No, we didn't do that. So we were looking for like you can't trademark certain things under hemp.
Yeah.
We looked into trademarking the name itself, and I think we're going down that route, but we haven't done it yet.
Yeah. Sell merchandise. You can trademark it on the merchandise.
Yeah, perfect.
I've had the same problem for other companies in New Jersey. They can't get a federal trademark, so we're trying to find a way around it. All right. So this is like in the fall of 2024, and what's the next stage? Now you got to find a co-packer, or
exactly.
Do you got to get buyers first? Like, what's the whole business plan at that point?
So at that point, it's interesting looking back. We had no idea what we had, right? We didn't have a brand. We had a name and a formula. So we didn't really know the next step. So we just said, let's just make the drink. Let's make it and then start selling it, because it's hard to sell something that's basically a concept at that point.
Right.
So that was September of 24. For the next, I'd say 3 months, we just started looking at, because at that point we didn't know where to get the ingredients. We didn't know who was going to make it. There was so many unknowns
that company didn't help the laboratory.
So they gave us the ingredient list and where they got the ingredients from.
Right.
So that helped.
Okay.
They, prior to, I think a couple years before, they had actually had their own co-packing branch, but that had closed down.
Got it.
So,
but a co-packer would do that. They would find the ingredients for you, and then you would taste the thing and whatever, right?
Kind of. So we found, once we found the co-packer, which it took a while, so we ended up going through a lot of people. Some of the hindrance was a lot of people's minimum order quantities, the MOQs, are pretty high, right?
Yeah.
So we didn't necessarily want to walk away with 100,000 drinks.
Right. You don't even know people are going to like it, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Huge risk.
Huge risk, and we didn't have anywhere to put it. There was just so many, so we're like, let's find somewhere that can do like a fairly small run for us. And after it was all said and done, we ended up finding a third party. It's kind of an interesting concept. It's this place called Ironheart Brewing, and basically what they do is it's a third party that will go into like a brewery that's already established, use their equipment to make your drink, and then leave. So like it's kind of third party employees that help will use somebody else's equipment, is what it ends up being.
It's like using a commercial kitchen at night because they're shut down. You want to bake your bread or make your desserts or whatever. Okay. But they would do it for you. You didn't have to go in. It was a company you could hire.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
Okay.
So this place called Ironheart, they work all over the country, right? They don't have like a set location. So they contract with a place up in Cincinnati called Braxton Brewing, which is great. They're actually famous. They created, Garage Beer that the Kelseys own.
No.
Ever heard of that? It's
many craft beers out there, yeah.
So many, and the Kelsey brothers just bought it and turned it into this huge. It's like one of the biggest growing beers. They formulated it. Was this Braxton?
Now that you say it, I'll probably say it like tomorrow. Yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah, it's everywhere. It's crazy.
Right.
So anyway, this brewery called Braxton Brewing, Ironheart basically goes in there and uses their equipment. Awesome people. Everything worked out pretty well. But basically, what I had to do was find all the ingredients, figure out the quantities to order, and ship everything there. Right. They create the product for you, can it, get it all wrapped up on pallets, and then you come pick it up and take it wherever you want to take it. So
right. Now, interestingly enough, if this was a THC cannabis-based drink, forget about that. You probably need more licensing and approvals and everything. You would have to do it all within the state of Texas. There would be no way to go and ship, because you can't ship cannabis-based products across state lines. Because it's a federal violation of it's a class 1 whatever controlled substance, but you didn't have that problem because it was hemp based.
Exactly, that's exactly right. Yep,
right. Exactly.
Yep. And there's still the licensing is strange. Like we have a license to sell it, they had a license to create it, but the laws are just gray. People just don't really know what to do with it because every state's a little bit different. So
right.
but yeah, that's exactly right. It was actually pretty easy. Like once we got our license and once we found them, we really didn't have any hiccups. It was pretty smooth.
Yeah, no, I think the marijuana side's much harder because you're talking, first of all, I think in Texas it's just medical only, right? It's not a personal adult use. Yeah, and the licensing is very difficult. But if you're going and you're going to sell in other states, there's a whole system of beverage licensing to be able to sell beverages because you're selling wholesale, right? In each state. I've looked at it for clients in New Jersey. They've made a drink. They want to sell it in, Boston and in 4 other cities. They all have different licensing systems.
Yep. Different licensing systems, and there's different requirements for the packaging as well on what has to be in the packaging.
Right. So you have to have it labeled a certain way for this place and that place. Yeah.
Yep.
It's like
Yeah.
autos and the cardboard in California. They make everybody else follow the rules.
Exactly.
All right. So, you mentioned about quantity, and so what kind of a quantity were you able to get away with starting with Ironheart versus these other big co-packers?
So it was 1,000 gallons per SKU. So we ended up with about 10,000 cans of the red and the white. So we had 20,000 cans total.
Okay, I guess that's not. I mean, there's a risk there, right? You can end up with 20,000 cans of something people don't want. Just because you guys like it doesn't mean they're going to like it.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay, so I can imagine the beverage space, like how it works, right? So you're going to go out and you're going to try and get people to kind of taste it and carry it. And what do? Do you have taste test contests? Do you visit distributors? Do you visit stores directly? Like, what was the whole distribution and sales plan?
Yeah, we realized we should have come up with a sales plan before we got the drinks. We didn't think about that at all.
Yeah, well, that's it.
Yeah.
Welcome to the accidental entrepreneur. That's,
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, we had 20,000 cans. Didn't have any idea what to do with it. So it was literally every day for 8 hours a day, just Googling, like, how do I sell this? What am I selling?
Right.
So it was a lot of reaching out just to individual bars, restaurants, smoke shops, things like that. And then we were doing that during the week. And then on the weekends, we were actually hitting up like farmers markets. And
get people to try it,
like
right?
That.
Buy direct.
Exactly,
Because you could sell direct to the public, right?
Yep. So we had our license to do it. Everything. It's the first time we did it. It felt so weird, right? Because it still feels legal because there's this licensing. There's this kind of weird stigma about it. So we walked in with 30 cases of weed, basically.
Right. Weed drinks. Nobody sees a difference, right? They don't.
Nobody.
Yeah.
And we were set up between a bakery and a candle shop on this street fair. But it was great, because at that point we got real feedback from just random people walking by, and we're just saying, hey, do you want to taste this drink? We had all the signs saying this is hemp, this is THC, this is
right.
We were making people aware, right, of it, and we got really good feedback. So people were like, oh, this is really good. We were getting people to buy it. We started having people like come specifically to these markets to actually buy the drinks again.
Yeah, because they weren't in the stores near them yet, right? So.
Exactly. So, and it wasn't, of course there were some people who weren't a fan of it, and that's fine, but we were getting enough where we're like, okay, there is something here. People are enjoying it. People are buying it.
Right.
What's our next step? We can't sell.
Yeah, how do you anticipate volume? How do you get into the stores? The guy says, all right, I'll buy, 3 cases, and then it sells through and he says, I want 10.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we were doing all this, and we realized, pushing online sales would be our best bet. Like that's I think going to be the easiest way to go, because like we'd reach out to distributors, and because we had no sales basically, and it's kind of this weird space.
Yeah, they're like, we're going to give you shelf space in our store. Yeah, I understand.
Exactly. So we're like, let's see. The bigger we can build up our online presence, we can go to them and say, hey, we have X sales in the last X months.
Right.
It's going to be significantly easier to do that.
These are all canned products. They're all cans, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. 12-ounce cans.
Well, shipping bottles would be very heavy and expensive, and I'm sure there's breakage with cans, but it's got to be better than
way
bottles.
better.
Yeah,
way easier. Yeah, and we also wanted like one can to be one serving, so you didn't have to like corking it would be kind of weird. We didn't know if it was going to taste good the next day. It was just
all right. It's not carbonated, but still, right? It's open to the air, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
is it one of the? Is the size like those smaller soda cans, or is it a 16 ounce or?
They're 12 ounce, like the sleek cans, the thinner ones. So it's not like the Coke can; it's kind of the thinner one.
So it's like taller and thinner, but it's 12 ounces.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay. All right. Yeah. So it's smaller. Yeah. Easier to hold in your hand. Okay.
Exactly.
So but this is what happens with businesses, and in your space, right? There's a lot of moving parts. And I know we don't give advice to people, but people can learn from you, right? You need to have the sales and marketing side of it down and know how you're going to look. In your case, you couldn't really test the market because you didn't have a product. People had to taste it, right? So that's hard. But at least if you knew, it would have helped a little, right? It would have reduced your stress level probably if you knew what the next step was, like how do we reach these people? But you're kind of like, well, all right, we got product and the garage is open and there's all these cases in there. And now what do we do? And I think people need, and a lot of businesses can test the market because they're not drink based, you know?
Right.
And they don't answer that question. Like if you don't know who's going to buy your product and how you're going to reach the marketplace, it's really stressful. And a lot of people fail because they don't know what to do next. And you guys, you know, figured it out. So now if you start to get some traction, right? Ironheart, what was their capacity? Like if you said, listen, we got 20,000 cases no, not 20,000 cases, 20,000 drinks.
20,000 drinks, yeah.
Okay. And then this stuff starts selling through and now you need 100,000. Like could they ramp up for that?
It'd be really hard. I don't think so.
Yeah, they're a small operation. You'd have to go to a new co-packer that does 100,000 minimum, whatever, and then that could bounce around, right? So you got those kind of. So how did you? Tell me about that journey. Like how did that go?
Yeah, so I mean, like you said, we were juggling so much, right? This was so we got product in March of 2025. So a little over a year ago was the first time we actually got product. So I would say the first 4 months was just trying to stay afloat, right? It was a significant, investment in, money wise in terms of product and whatnot. So we're trying to carry those bills without getting sales, trying to juggle that, trying to learn the sales and marketing portion of it, the advertising. And then also at the same time realizing, like you said, it's not that is not sustainable business model, right? It was good to get us started, but it's not a sustainable business model. So I just, again, jumped online and spent hours just looking at, specifically searching out hemp co-packers, because at this point, the hemp space is just exploding, from when we thought about our first thought of that to now, it's night and day different.
Right. Well, it's almost 2 years since you started.
Exactly.
Maybe you're getting your calendaring from one software and you're invoicing from another. Evenoo is a platform that we use as one of our sponsors to run our entire business. And there's other features like auto payments and integrations with QuickBooks. Visit evenoo.com, EVONUE.com to learn more. There's also a link in the show notes. And be sure to tell them that the Accidental Entrepreneur referred you. This podcast is brought to you by our affiliate sponsor, iEmployee. iEmployee is a virtual assistant service that hires almost anyone for any role in your company right out of the Philippines. Most roles range from $7 to $9 an hour for highly skilled and experienced VAs. And whether you need an executive assistant, social media manager, video editor, customer service, sales, you name it, they have it. We use iEmployee for our VA services, from editing and promoting the podcast to all the PR and promotion of our law firm. iEmployee acts as a virtual field supervisor on the back end with live video monitoring and reports on a daily basis with screenshots of your VA's workday, and along with complete HR and payroll duties. No more paying for overpriced and underqualified workers. There's a link in the show notes to get a 1-week free trial, and I encourage you to take advantage of it. Right.
So what I ended up finding out is there are a lot of people who are just hemp co-packers or have a hemp branch in their co-packing capabilities. So it was just going through, and I probably had 24 meetings with different folks of just trying to figure out the best place for it, trying to find somewhere local here in Texas, even talking to people that just make, ready to drink drinks that aren't hemp. Like, is this something you can do? Do you have the license for this? What does this look like?
No, you need a license to be making these things, different than just like a soft drink license, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. Separate license. So ended up finding some folks, and ended up, we've done another run since our first run. So we just got another batch, and it's actually up in Jersey, up in Edison, New Jersey.
Oh, that's close to me. Okay.
Yeah.
So your co-packers in Edison, New Jersey?
Correct. Yeah. But they're pros, and they do just hemp drinks. So working with them was like, Ironheart and Braxton were fantastic, but working with these folks, they just know the system. They know everything just runs very, very, very smoothly. So it ended up working out. But yeah, this time in the business between March and, let's say, September of last year was just, like I said, just clawing at the waves, just trying to keep our heads above water.
Yeah.
And figure it out. And during that time, that's when like I said, we realized we need to go into, like, online sales would be the best, just to kind of get things ramped up. So we found a third-party platform that sells THC drinks. They're called Soberish.
Got it.
And
So you're still wholesaling to them, but you're doing it. It's a virtual store.
Kind of, yeah. Basically, you sell it yourself. So like they have the platform where it's kind of like their version of it's
Like an Amazon Marketplace, but
exactly, yeah,
hemp drinks.
exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Right.
So we started selling there, and we were getting not a ton, but consistently a few times a week, a few times
Right.
a day. We're kind of building.
No, but that
up
was
there.
smart because they have an audience. They got people going looking for them. You don't have to build up new SEO, website marketing, and things like that. You could do that on the side while you're doing this. Okay, well that was smart.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, we were like, we need an identity, because at this point it'd just been us thinking like, hey, this color's cool, this looks cool, this design element's cool. We made our own Squarespace website that looked pretty good for not having any experience, but in the grand scheme of things, it could have been better.
Yeah.
So we decided, you know what, we need to put money into that. We need to put money into branding and money into our website.
Right. So you get some name recognition, people find you. Right, because eventually you want to have your own website, right?
Exactly, yeah. So we hired a company here in Austin to build us a website and do our branding deck. And back to money, I think that was about $10,000.
That's not terrible.
Which it's not, and it was honestly the best decision we made because it gave us a path. They did such a good job of building the website and then having this branding deck for us of like, oh, when we do ads, when we do Instagram posts, we can kind of follow these guidelines to make it a cohesive looking
right.
business
Branding,
now.
colors, look, feel, fonts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's no longer just a product. Now we're actually
important.
building a brand and a business. Yeah.
Yeah, how you show up online creates people's, then they recognize you. Then it's in the stores or whatever. So you're in stores now?
So we're in a handful. So we're mostly selling online, and that's been growing and growing and growing. And we started talking to distributors again now that we actually have some sales. So
right.
To I don't know, we can bring this back around, but the laws in Texas are, fluctuating, I guess is the best way to put that. So we had a meeting with a distributor, I'd say a month ago, 2 months ago. Very excited about us. We were very excited about them, and they said the laws are they're changing too much. We're pumping the brakes on the THC segment. So we've kind of been hitting that is what we're dealing with right now.
Yeah, well, I think the cannabis people are like, hey, why are we getting this kind of treatment? And these guys can get away with it. We were talking off the mic, right? I do have a client who's in manufacturing. They're just setting up their operation in New Jersey, and they are very interested in drinks. And I know that the feds are kind of catching on to saying, you know what? This is kind of THC too. I mean, it's the same stuff. It's just from a different plant, and it should be regulated, and this and that. And if they regulate it, well, I guess you could sell in New Jersey because you're making it in New Jersey with this group in Edison, but shipping it to Pennsylvania and shipping it to Texas and it's going to be, you're not going to be able to do it. So, what's your understanding of what's going on in the laws there and the changes? Yeah. Is this coming in the fall?
So, yeah. So there's a couple different pieces to this, right? There's the federal piece, which I think it was last October was when the bill was introduced to basically ban all hemp products.
Yeah.
And within a year. So I think like you said, we have until the fall.
Yeah.
The big thing about that is that was it's the opposition to it. People who are saying, no, this is silly, we need to regulate, not ban, is very bipartisan and has a lot of movement behind it. So if I was just guessing, I think by the time it's all said and done, I think it will be regulated rather than banned, which is a good thing because right now there's not a lot of regulations.
Okay.
Right? There's one side that's pushing this outright ban. We don't want hemp drinks. We don't want edibles. We don't want smokables.
And just leave it to the states, basically.
They want it completely outlawed. Is this what this bill?
That doesn't make any sense.
I agree, and that's what a lot of the pushback is like, you guys are going to kill a multi-billion-dollar industry overnight by outlawing it. Why don't we just regulate it like we do with alcohol or with any of these?
Well, it's got to be the people on the cannabis side who are like, I don't want that, I don't want competition. Let's get them out of here.
It's that, and it's the alcohol industry. A lot of folks are the trends that we're
away
seeing.
From
it's taken away, and less and less people are drinking, so more and more people are going this way.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like I said, the bill that is put forth to kill the industry. The opposition to that is bipartisan backed, so I think it'll be okay. Like both Republicans and Democrats see see the benefit in keeping this a regulated industry because of the amount of money it's bringing into people.
Right, but if it ends up being regulated like cannabis, then it would be illegal on the federal level. Wouldn't be banned,
Right.
but it would be and legal in whatever states add it to their bills, right? So then you can't can in Cincinnati and ship it to
Right.
Pennsylvania or Texas or New Jersey, actually, and because you're crossing state lines, right? You have the same problem that the cannabis people have.
Yes, and the interesting thing, and this is where it's going to get kind of interesting, is because the right now it is kicked down to the states, and each state is kind of regulating it differently. A lot of states are going towards more of an alcohol model of like regulating it similar to alcohol, and that it's got to be 21 plus to purchase, things like that. So I'm curious, and I don't know, I don't really have a ton to back this up, right? But I wonder if rather than going towards the cannabis model, the hemp industry will go towards the alcohol model and have it regulated that way. So you will be able to ship interstate, but you will need some sort of special licensing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but I mean, there's so much money in it. I know, so Texas attempted to ban it in 2025 to completely outlaw all hemp products. And that was going to cost just the state of Texas billions of dollars. It was something
That would include CBD products too?
So CBD was the one thing that was going to be allowed, but anything else hemp wise was going to be outlawed. There's big pushback from a lot of folks because, like I said, it was going to be billions out of the economy and something around 50,000 jobs is what it was going to kill. So thankfully the governor vetoed that bill and said, no, we're just going to regulate this, which is a good thing. We want it regulated. Right now it's kind of the Wild West out there.
Yeah.
So we want some regulations, which would be good. But it'll be interesting because I know over the next couple of years there's going to be some lawsuits playing out here in Texas and some other places, as well as the federal bills going on. So this is going to be an interesting next 5 years, I'd say, in the industry to see what happens.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it's going to change a lot of things.
Yeah.
It could help my client if people have to contract manufacture within the state.
Yeah,
because then
for
they'll
sure.
be able to pick up that kind of business. Do you remember who was your first retail customer? That buyer that would put it on their shelves. Is there someone who's doing that now?
Yeah. So right down the road from us here, we live just outside of Austin, and there's a local liquor store. They were the first people. They bought a case of each. Nicest people ever. We just walked in and said, "Hey, do you want to buy this?" They said, "Absolutely." So it was great, and they still carry it to this day. They're awesome people.
And they sell it. It sells.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. So that was my next question. So what is the feedback like? How is business going? How did you get rid of all the 20,000 units and now you reordered new stuff?
We did, yeah. So we sold all that. We are still selling online. The online, our website is growing and growing and growing, and we're starting to. We figured out some SEO and whatnot, and then we are putting money towards advertising. So we're just kind of starting to dip our toe into that to try to figure it out. Our goal is to kind of grow this a little bit. Grow it a little bit slower, I guess is the best way to put it, because we don't have a ton of money, so we can't dump $50,000 into it.
Right.
So
Or else
we're kind of putting
money. You have to, right?
Right, and right now we don't want to have to do that because we're still trying to figure out audience and all of that. So we're
just you and your wife, right? You have no
wife.
partners or anything in the business.
Just us, yeah.
How long did it take you, Alex, to go through the first 20,000 units? You remember? You said March last year, so.
We have a handful. We ordered early, so we have a handful left, but we've probably we went through, I think, 16,000 cans, something like that.
Okay. And you got new stuff coming, like Edison's already sent you
just
product?
Got it, yeah. Just got it like a week ago. So
Got it. Do you have a warehouse facility where you keep this stuff, or does it stay there until or is it in your garage at this point?
It's in the garage right now.
It's in your garage.
In the garage at this point, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't usually have business owners that are this early in the process, but I think it's a great story. It's a great journey, and it also happens to be timely, right? Because of what's going on in the country, well, let's use the THC industry as a general industry, right? Because products come from different plants.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything's kind of in flux. I gotta say, you guys are. I don't know if you're daring or just were ignorant and it didn't bother you. I mean, you went into starting a business is hard, and then you went into a business that's harder, has regulation. It's got issues about creating the product. You can't really test the product till you make the product. That type of stuff. Did you I mean, you formulated the product through going to the lab and working with them and tasting whatever. But did you do any other taste testing with other people, or did you just say, well, me and my wife, if we like it, we're gonna just take our risk? That's basically what you did, right? Like you didn't like said,
100%.
listen, send us some samples. We're gonna sit down with 50 of our friends. We
Hmm.
want them to try this and give us feedback. You didn't do that?
Nope,
You
we just
could
went for
have,
it.
right?
Could have, yeah. Yeah, we definitely could have. But it probably was mostly ignorance. That's kind of been the way we've been doing it this whole time. Is just jumping in both feet and just kind of
Yeah.
swimming our way out.
Right.
But I also think I mean, she and I definitely work best that way because like there's only so much you can plan, right? You've owned businesses, you can plan as much as you want and do your best
Right.
to kind of figure everything out. But at some point, you've got to jump in and figure it out.
Yeah, I mean,
And
all the lights can't be green and go to town. But Alex, let's
exactly.
think about this. This is in hindsight. Everything's working out so far,
Yeah, yeah.
right? If you had 50 people taste test this
Hmm.
thing, and you and your wife were the only two that liked it, you might have a problem that
Yeah.
you have to work. They have to correct. I'm not saying it's not correctable,
Right.
and you just like threw caution to the wind for that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Where you could have
Yeah.
had 20,000 units in your garage and drinking them yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. We part of it was just faith in ourselves, I guess,
Yeah,
is
it's
the way to put it,
nuts.
like
I mean, now
blind
you look
faith.
back, it's fine, but it's nuts to do
It's
it that
crazy.
way.
And so many steps in this process, looking back, were crazy. And things could have
Yeah,
got like had taken a hard left turn and the business would have been completely done, right? I mean,
yeah.
just trusting this Ironheart brewery. They were great, but we didn't know
What
them. I
if they
mean, I did
fall on their face, right?
What if it's a
Yeah,
place that just takes your money and doesn't do anything?
right.
What if this brewery isn't as clean as they should be, and we get like all of our cans getting because you have to do aftermarket testing on it, right? And what
Yeah.
if the dosage was off? There's so many what ifs.
What
It's
is it that comes
crazy
and
to
you
look back.
test it? It doesn't taste like anything that you had
Exactly.
created, and
Yep.
you got these 20,000 units, and something went wrong in the
Yeah.
brewing or the whatever the process. I don't
Exactly.
know how they create the drink, but yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things
Hmm.
that could have gone wrong, and I'm sure there's still there's always risks
Always.
with business. How long have you been using the Edison group?
This is our first run. First run with
Okay,
it.
so far that's going well, right?
So far, they've been great. The cans
Right.
came back great. The process was very smooth. Everything tastes good. It was a much smoother process. So we'll definitely work with them in the future. They were great.
From a manufacturing standpoint, you have to buy the can and have the can labeled and stuff with all the pieces. Then you have it delivered directly to Edison, and then they just fill them and can them and wrap them up in 6-packs and pallets and things like that, right?
Correct. Yep. Yep.
Okay. So who's your can people?
Can source.
Can source. Okay.
Yeah.
They source cans from wherever.
Yeah, they're a big one. I think they're in Colorado. I think is where it comes from. But they do they'll do
Coors.
purchase
Probably.
orders in the millions. Yeah, they do Coors.
Yeah,
and all
yeah,
that stuff.
exactly.
So they're super easy to work with. It's all very high level, like printed. The cans are now printed instead of just the label glued on there. So
Originally, it was a label on because those come off. It gets refrigerated and whatever.
yep. But
But
now
they
it's all
handle
printed.
all that stuff. So it arrives ready to be filled and
Exactly.
capped
Yep.
in Edison.
Exactly.
Right. You don't
Yeah.
take possession of that. It goes straight from, like, you have a whole supply chain, whatever. Right. It
Yep.
goes straight from Colorado to Edison. Edison cans it. They send it down to you.
Exactly.
And right now, the stores you're dealing with are only local anyway, right? They're in Texas. So,
Yep. Yep. So we actually have a couple meetings set up with some distributors up in Connecticut, actually.
oh, okay.
Just because,
Like
like,
Northeast distributors?
yeah. Yep. Exactly. And that kind of came about because, like I said, we were just looking for anything, just online, just reaching out to every distributor I could find online, being like, hey, this is our product. Do you want to carry it? And a couple have gotten back to us and say, hey, yeah, let's have a conversation and see what that looks like. So that's exciting. That's kind of the next steps of the process of just starting to look at these distributors and see, because to grow, obviously a distributor would be great to start selling in bigger quantities than what we're selling in now.
Right.
There's a lot of hurdles to get to that point, right? Because getting on with one, and then you have to figure out the logistics portion of getting them product and the advertising and marketing. There's a lot of things to that. So, like I said, we're doing our best to build the company slowly ish, if that
Right.
makes sense, because rather than it'd be good to get on with one distributor and just be like, okay, how much product we don't even know like what an order would be. Is that one pallet,
Right.
10
That's what I
pallets,
mean.
100 pallets? Yeah. So just trying to kind of dip our toe in and be like, okay, if we sell you one pallet, how long is that going to last? What kind of money do we need to put into marketing and advertising?
Right.
Get our so like we get our systems in place for that, and we can kind of start growing from there. That's our plan.
Yeah, because if it sells through and you can't respond and send them more product, they might lose
Exactly.
interest and find another product. They
Exactly.
want to move. They want to move goods. Oh,
Exactly.
That's interesting. There's a lot of moving parts
Yeah.
to a business like that. I guess you also have a little bit of an advantage that you have other sources of income. Like you don't need to be. This doesn't pay your bills right now, so
Right.
you're still a fireman and you're still making money, and I guess your wife still works, so you're
Exactly.
kind of doing this part time, getting it out there. Is
Exactly.
I know I can't buy it, but can my son find it in Fort Worth?
We can send it to him. We can ship it to him.
Oh
For
yeah,
sure.
that's well. I
Yeah.
could order it too, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll send you some.
It's
Yeah,
not
for sure.
regulated. Okay, good,
Yeah.
good. So, okay, I'll tell him we'll check it out. And see
Heck
what it is.
yeah.
What is it? DeltaVine.com? Is that the website?
Enjoydeltavine.com.
Like, is DeltaVine.com is someone else's website?
It was somebody else's. Yeah.
Nice.
So we like the enjoy. A lot of the.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of these drinks kind of have like a drink this or try that. So we're like, hey.
Right. Well, what is DeltaVine.com? What is that company?
I can't remember what
Don't
that
know.
was. It was something. It was different than what I thought. It wasn't anything related to the marijuana industry. I can't remember specifically what it was.
But it wasn't drinks of any kind, or
I don't think so. No.
interesting.
Yeah.
We gotta make sure you put those in the show notes. Enjoy DeltaVine. What is, as a little bit of advice for people, right? What are one or two things that you would have done differently, and you think business owners? We already said one, right? Find out how you're going to sell this thing, like have that at least partially worked out before you do it, right? So, what about some other challenges you ran into? You're like, oh, looking back, we ended up doing it differently, but we didn't do it right to begin with. What were a couple of things that come to mind?
Yeah. So I would say, I think the biggest thing, like as a concept, is that initially in the first 8 months, I would say we were looking very much of like, what do we need to do right now rather than thinking about the future, right? We didn't, it was like, hey, we just get product and then,
Right.
oh crap, we have to do this, then we have to do this, then we have to do this. And
Right.
like
Some a little
once
bit more
we-
strategic planning is what you're saying.
strategic planning. Yeah. So once we started looking at like doing our website and doing our branding is when we started thinking like, oh, we can start thinking like more longer term of this, right? It's not just, we need to sell 10 cases today. It's like, how do we sell
Right.
10 cases every day for the next,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, that's because that's fire drill type of stuff, right? Basically,
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So that's good advice for people.
Yeah. So huge there. I would say, so our first couple of sales to like retailers, I told you about that proof liquor, which was great. We were selling to different locations. So we just literally reach out on Instagram or through their customer service website or whatever, customer service email, be like,
Yeah.
hey, can I just come meet with you, have you try this, maybe you can sell some. We got into, I would say, 5 or 6 stores in Austin, and then we didn't do anything to help them sell it. So it was just like, here, have this.
Just drop it off and leave.
Just drop it off. And I didn't think about it at all. I was like, great, that's their problem, right? They
Yeah.
sell it now. That's not right.
Because they
That's
got
not the way to do it.
different brand, right? You want them to push your brand.
Exactly. So once we started realizing that, we're like, oh, that makes sense. And I was doing a podcast with a gentleman who works in the drink industry, and he said something that stuck with me. And he said, your distribution should be 1 inch wide and 1 mile deep, right? So it doesn't make any sense to sell to 100 stores one time if you can sell to 10 stores 100 times.
Yeah. Because
Right.
Location and getting them there and dealing with much easier.
Exactly. And the resale. And that's when our brains kind of shifted like, oh, we do need to put, like, it's not just selling it one time, right? It's looking forward and selling it. Like if you get into a store, doing tastings, doing, the shelf talkers, doing the little things. I know it sounds silly, but I didn't think, it's just something I didn't
It
think
gives
about.
them incentive to. We had a deal with where a client was making like a tequila or something. They were talking to the distributor, and it's a couple of people that were interested in investing in the business, and they're like, well, what's your plan? Like, okay, fine, you get people to try this. How do you get a bartender or a guy in a store to push your tequila over someone else's tequila?
Yep. Exactly.
Right? Because that's what you want. And look, it makes them money, but at the end of the day, I think that store clerks, well, bartender's a bad example, but store clerks, anybody selling this stuff, they're going to go the easy route. Like whatever makes it easier for them, unless you're paying them a commission or something, that's what they're going to do. The name brands and things like that. So if you want to get them to try something and take a risk on selling your product that they have nothing about it, then you got to be like there and help them along and, be friendly. And they're like, oh no, we love Alex. He's a great guy. You got to try this stuff type of thing. But yeah, no, good advice that people definitely don't do. They think, like you said, oh, we got it out there and then they just wait, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Doesn't work. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's really funny. Okay. So the website's enjoydeltavine.com. Right now, because of the federal situation, you can buy it online anywhere pretty much in the country. I guess you said there's a few states you can't?
Idaho. It's fully outlawed.
But because they have a law in Idaho that says
Correct.
You're in Idaho, you can't buy it. Okay. But
Exactly.
everywhere else, it seems like you can buy it. All right.
Yep.
And if they want to follow you or learn your story, you guys on Instagram, you're on LinkedIn, I guess, right?
Yeah. So
something like that?
Instagram is at Enjoy Delta Vine.
Okay.
For both Instagram and Facebook, and then LinkedIn is just Delta Vine. So.
Okay. All right. Great.
Yeah.
So we'll put that all in the show notes and get connected with you. Maybe in a year or two, we'll have to do an update show and see where you guys are and what's going on. Especially if I start seeing it in New Jersey in stores, that'll remind me. I'm like, oh, I got to reach out to Alex. So
Definitely. Yeah.
we'll
Love to.
definitely do that. Yeah. All right. So I can't thank you enough for coming on the show. For those of you tuning in, thanks for joining me and Alex. It's still this morning. So this morning. And again, if you are want to support the show, go to the website. It's theaccidentalentrepreneur.com is our site. And you can find us on Instagram too, the YouTube channel. Share us, like us, support us, get on our email list so you can be notified of all future episodes. And any parting words, Alex? You want to say anything before we sign off?
No, just thank you so much for having me. This was a blast.
No, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
In addition to being a podcast host, I'm also a small business attorney, mostly providing legal services in New York and New Jersey. With over 3 decades of experience, we can handle most transactional issues. So if you're watching the show and you encounter some sort of legal issue, reach out to us and visit our website, beinhakerlaw.com. Thanks for tuning into the show and for continuing to support us.